Do you guys ever feel like you're too old to train in a combat sport, or especially the art of kickboxing, because of what you see on TV and all the knockouts, and you're just completely afraid of it? Well, I'm here to tell you that you're never too old. Actually, I'll take it one step further and say that you can even fight like at the age of 50. And I'm gonna show you how and why coming up. Alright guys, my name's Chris. Welcome back to Sicat Kickboxing Club. If you haven't done so yet, please subscribe, like this video after you're done, only if you get value out of it, and share it with your friends that want to learn the art of kickboxing or just fighting, self-defense, losing weight, whatever you need to do in order to have a better life for yourself. So, forgot to mention, also listen in on the podcast guys. I'd really appreciate the support, and it's getting a lot of traction. I have high-level martial artists there from the UFC and from regular practitioners to hobbyists that just like to do it for fun, which is actually the hobbyist part is what I'm going to talk about in this video. Okay, so make sure to check that out. I'll click the link in the description down below, and if you like the podcast, please like and subscribe to the videos. Okay, and also check out my newsletter guys. It's chrissicat.com. I got all my information over there, meaning I got all the stuff that I do, kickboxing, the podcast. You could listen in on the podcast. You can hit me up for like collaborations, or I'm coming out with a course, a very basic, non-complex course, which is easy to understand, so that it's pretty much dialed in, like the basics. It's not that you have to search all these videos. It's all consolidated in one course, and I'm very excited for that. Anyway guys, so my whole topic on this video is that, listen, I'm 40 years old now, right? And look, yes, I've been training, I'd say, in my early 20s, okay? And even I felt like that's late. But as I grew up throughout my journey, right, I always had in my head, I'm like, oh man, I just trained late. Well, the thing is that you can't do anything about that, right? Coulda, woulda, shoulda, so it doesn't really matter. But when I started to grow up, get more mature in my fighting, kickboxing journey, I actually started to realize that it's a lot better for me now than it ever was earlier in my life. Now, considering, depending on what you want to do, whether it's competing or learning self-defense, yes, it may be better if you're competing. Like nowadays you see in the UFC, they're starting off like at 13 years old, which is just crazy, right? And it's great for everyone. It's great for the game because it's high-level martial arts, right? High-level kickboxing, high-level grappling. So, and the entertainment value just goes up from there, okay? So, when I started getting more mature and getting older in ages, I started to realize that there's these arcs in life to where, listen man, I don't have to be, and the thing is, evolutionarily, we're social human beings, which means that we like to compare ourselves to other people, okay? It's just innate in us. It's kind of like, well, he's doing better than I am, maybe I have to up him, or maybe, man, I feel like shit because he's doing better than I am, or whatever the case may be. Comparison's the thief of joy, right? And we should never compare ourselves to other people, but we're humans, so we tend to anyway. The point is that as I matured with my thoughts a little bit, I started doing things for myself, right? Because we all have these arcs in life. We all go through seasons. We all go through our personal problems. Some of us, have depression symptoms. We have ADHD. We have, mental illnesses and, whatever you're going through. And I'm very empathetic of that. But the thing is that actually is my point, is now you get to do martial arts or kickboxing in this case for your very own reason, right? I know sometimes we look at TV and it's like, oh, I'd like to be that, or I'd like to be that, but then I'm kind of getting old and I'm in this like weird spot where I'm in my middle ages, or I'm 28, even like 25, starting in your 25, as ridiculous as it sounds, and I go to a high level gym. As ridiculous as that sounds, that's old for someone to start at 25. That's if you're trying to like really take it on a professional level and go all the way with it. That's how you're gonna make your money and support your family, considering, right? It's really late to be professional. Not that you can't do it, right? There's a lot of success stories, but that's considered now late in this day and age. So, look, I've trained a lot, and honestly, mostly over 28, 30-ish and up, okay? That's what I train nowadays. I still train people that want to compete, but it's mostly 28, 30 years old that want to learn self-defense so that they can protect their loved ones, or they want to lose weight, or they just want to get confident, or they want to do sparring for fun. And sparring can be done for fun. Don't let anyone fool you that just because you're sparring, now all of a sudden you have to compete. Hey, if that's what you choose to do, go do it. Go do it. I'm all for it, you know? I train all ages, all demographics, mostly men, admittedly so, because, you know, it's a men-dominated sport. But I've trained mostly 28 and 30s. And with different age groups and different levels, I coach them very, very differently. So say if I was coaching a 21-year-old fighter that's going to compete, well, it's going to be more high intensity, right? It's going to be a lot of cardio, because that's the most important, right? Besides like technique and all that. Listen, if you don't have cardio and then you give in like the first like 30 seconds and blow like your complete wad within a minute, well, you're done. There goes the competition. But, you know, as a trained fighter, you're going to start to know that, and pacing, and that's what I coach, right? It's very important at all levels to like pace yourself. But my point is that when I'm training someone at the age of like 21 through 25 and they're planning to compete, the intensity level goes up. There's just different techniques, there's different caveats, there's different situational fight situations in a competition compared to whether you're doing it as a hobby in your later ages. Now, back to the point of this video, where I teach actually, like I said, the 28 plus or 30 plus and above. Mostly they do it for a hobby, or they're just regular practitioners. They want to learn the art. Man, I'm gonna tell you what, okay? I love teaching 28 plus and over years old. A lot of people just in the martial arts world, I'm not singling anyone out, but you know, as you're younger, you have more testosterone. So you're kind of out there to prove yourself, right? You have a bigger ego because you're younger. You think you're like invincible because you recover fairly fast. Like it's kind of like drinking, right? You recover from hangovers much more quickly, which makes you think in your head, it's like, yeah, you know, I just drink whenever I want and stuff like that. As you get older, just like fighting, you have to pace yourself, right? That's the whole point of this video. So what I was talking about when I teach people different in different age groups, when I teach 28 plus to 30 years old, I tend to have it as a slower pace. Now that doesn't mean that they're gonna learn slower, that their improvements are gonna be dumbed down because you're going at a slower pace. Actually, this is what I think most younger fighters should do, which is what I teach in their philosophy, is that you have to slow things down. Especially in the age group of 30 and over, you know, your limbs start to hurt, you're more injury prone, you're not as fast as you used to be, your cardio is kind of not to the level of younger fighters. But when you slow things down, you start being more conscious of your technique and your movements, okay? When you're younger and then you're going fast, you're going every day, you're going 2 a days, you're training for a fight. It's great because the more practice you get, the better you'll get. But when you start to slow things down, especially if you're looking out for an injury or if you're just doing it as a hobby, you start paying attention to all the extremities of your movements, okay? It's very, very important Because when we think too fast, right? And I see this in a lot of students. When you're thinking too fast, like if you're like, yeah, hit the bag, you're actually not kind of developing it in your head. Like you're not taking in the full experience of what you're actually doing. That's one of the, I guess, traits that I see between younger fighters and older fighters. Older fighters that start to begin their kickboxing journey, they're a lot slower on things, but it actually works out in their favor. It's paradoxical actually, right? Because we think fast is good, but no, in this case, slower is good. At least from how I've been coaching all these years. Because if I start to slow down, right? If I were teaching someone a jab or a cross, I'd go jab, boom, right? And if they're going that slow of a pace compared to a guy that's like, number one, their technique is off. Number two, the guy that's doing it faster, if he's doing the wrong technique and if he does that for months, even years, he's gonna get knocked out and he's gonna have to relearn the right way to do it. He's gonna have to, here it is, slow things down, relearn it, and then do it all over again. And that's hard to retrain. So you might as well do it in the beginning of your journey. So when I'm teaching older fighters to block, like a lot of young guys will be like, right? They go too fast. But with older guys, with a little bit more wisdom, they know that the slower the better. It's not a race, right? So here we go. It's kind of like when I do this, right? When I'm blocking, it's the same thing. Learn to slow things down like this, okay? Like this, and then even with kick checking, do that, right? Learn to slow things down. Again, block, right? It's not like that, okay? Maybe when you get, not maybe, but when you get into the higher up levels, you can start doing that because you learn to slow it down, and now it's a progression of picking it up since now it's in your body extremities, okay? So for the guys that, like my video guy Adam that I do the podcast with, he's behind the scenes taking videos. He's 46 years old. He started when he was 40, and in the beginning of his journey, it wasn't even consistent. So I'd consider him starting at like 43 where he got really consistent. He is now sparring. He's fighting 25-year-olds, right? Because he's learned to slow things down, and then it's all about the technique. He's more, his say teeps and his punches are more precise. It's not all over the place. It's not just throwing like heavy on the volume and then keeping his hands down and doing this. It's because he's consciously aware of what he's doing. He's learned to take it back. Hey, look, maybe it's a lot to do with his injuries, but that's what we're working with, right? Even if you're injured, there's a way to do that, and that's slowing things down, right? You could always still train, but slowing things down, it gets you to see everything in your vision, okay? And what I mean by that is that, okay, if I'm very aware of like, oh, that two's coming, it's almost like the Matrix almost. Like, yes, it takes practice. I'm not saying that all of a sudden you're gonna be Mayweather and all of a sudden you see punches coming. But when you're very aware and you slow things down, you're kind of like, okay, let's, go at a pace, kind of like this. Oh, I see a shoulder moving, boom, boom. The more it gets into your brain, the more it gets branded into your brain. I've seen people, okay, compete at the age of like 38, 40. Not because they're gonna take it all the way, it's because they want to just compete once in their life, or maybe compete a number of 5 times, right? In like a smoker, which is exhibitions, or just amateur fights. And then they'll go 1 to 5 fights, they're done. But it's a self journey. And that's all that matters at the end. They're not trying to prove anyone anything, right? They're a lot wiser because of their older age from what they learned from their younger ages, right? They did a lot of stupid things. Now they learn from that. Now they're doing this. That's why they know to slow things down, because it improves their development. They have more of that kind of wisdom. Now, I'm not saying that younger guys don't have that, but as you get older, you get more experience, and then the more you learn, okay? A lot of young guys are smart, man. A lot of guys that I coach till this day, they're 21. I just did a podcast with him. He's like 21 years old and he's a killer, right? They're very, very smart. I mean, that comes with fighting. But at the same side, you're gonna have the ones that are just all in it just to beat people up and, you know, go crazy on the mats. And you kind of have to teach them, like, I guess, quote unquote, the ways of what I'm trying to explain in this video. So even if you're at the age of 30, it's for everyone. You just have to find people that you can trust, okay? That's probably the last thing that I'll say. Or the last point that I'll make in this video. You have to find people that you trust, because with all levels, not just 30 and over, but mostly 30 and over, if someone that's younger than you is going ham on you and he's more experienced and he's working on speed and there's a lot of intensity over there, well, it's going to discourage the guy that's doing it and he's like 46 years old, right? So you have to find a coach that's very, very aware of, very situationally aware of those situations, so that your training will be enhanced. You know, I'm sure that a lot of people, especially when they get a lot older, they go to these gyms that are testosterone filled, and all of a sudden they just see a bloodbath, right? Like they see people going hard and then they get intimidated. But as long as you find the right people, the right coach, the right environment, you can flow, right? Just like rolling in jiu-jitsu, you can flow. You don't have to like go ham and tear people's ACLs or something. You can, so I'll show you a little bit when I'm sparring, right? Boom, 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 boom. When I do that, it's just touching. It's just touching. I'm not even hitting their face, to be honest. I'm hitting their glove. But it's just to give them looks, right? And then they could do this. It's a simulation of a fight. And then as you get better at it, you can pick it up and actually start, you know, kind of actually simulating a fight, right? So that's my tips and tricks for guys that are like, you know, in their mid ages that want to learn the art of kickboxing, who's never done it before, or who's just starting out, that's getting discouraged. Don't get discouraged. Just find and trust, or find the right coach for you. Trust them, you know, be able to trust them if you think they're right for you, and they'll show you how to flow with it, right? Without being hurt. And then you could start picking it up and get into realistic, like simulations of the actual fight, all right? Personally, I love teaching, you know, a little bit of seasoned people, because they know like kind of how to listen. They're more of a listening other than a physical kind of way to learn. Again, not that younger people aren't, but I know older people are more inclined to listen because of now they're getting a lot older, their body's a little bit broken down, right? So they have to kind of use other strengths in order to get better at kickboxing. Tell me what you think, guys. Comment down below. And again, like this video if you got value out of it. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so yet. Check out the podcast. Man, I'm telling you, it's a wealth of value and knowledge from what you hear from fighters. And yeah, share this with anyone that wants to learn the art of fighting. And I'll see you on the next one.